Hi, I'm Denise Miller, and today we're going to talk about leadership setbacks. And I'd like to ask you, what leadership setbacks have you encountered in 2025 that will enable you to be a better leader in 2026? After all, remember that setbacks and failures teach us a lot about leadership. But before we go further, as I said, I'm Denise Miller. I'm your Leadership Lady Live. And I would like you to remember that if you like the material that I'm sharing, please hit the thumbs up or the heart, depending on where you're following me. And please do subscribe or follow. And please do share the link to my channel or even to this particular post with friends and colleagues and invite them to join you in this fourth quarter challenge. We are in the seventh week of the challenge. This is the second week in November. And this month, we're looking at how to reflect on and reclaim the lessons that we learned in 2025 so that we can leverage them for a better 2026. Now, to consider today's question, leadership development rarely happens during smooth sailing. Just doesn't happen. It happens during the setbacks, during the failures, during the crises time. So let's talk about what failure taught you in 2025 and how you can leverage those lessons in 2026. Research shows that most leaders identify setbacks and failures as their most valuable learning experiences, whether it's a missed deadline, a failed project, team turnover, or a strategic missteps. These moments reveal leadership gaps that success will often mask. The question isn't whether you'll face setbacks, it is what wisdom you'll extract from the setbacks and the failures that you face. Here are some common leadership setbacks. They often are exposed in three critical areas. The first gap area is directive versus collaborative decision making. Many leaders make decisions in isolation, assuming that they know best. The second gap is task focus versus people focus. Leaders often prioritize deliverables over team well being. And when that happens, burnout and turnover are often the result. The third gap is certainty versus transparency. Some leaders sometimes project unwavering confidence when they're actually quite uncertain. They think that the confidence inspires stability, but instead it creates a distance between them. And I'd like to give you now a practical framework to learn from the setbacks that you've had. The first one is to create space for honest reflection. Ask questions like, what happened? What did I miss? What did we miss? What could be done differently? The second step is to identify what this setback reveals about your leadership approach. Did your words, your attitudes, or your actions create the conditions for that problem to happen, for that setback to happen? The third step, you will see several issues but make changes slowly. We often want to speed up and make all of the changes at once, but that is the worst possible thing you can do because when you try to create too many changes at once, what you really create is chaos on your team. Attempting to fix everything at once will be overwhelming and could cause even greater setbacks because of the abrupt and sudden and overarching changes. Step four is to follow up and analyze. After each change has been implemented, after about 30 days, ask a couple of questions. Is there a difference now? What else may I also need to shift to sustain the change that I've made? One big shift is your mindset. That needs to shift. When it comes to addressing setbacks and failures, the most effective leaders reframe their thinking about them by asking, what can this teach me, rather than asking what went wrong. Don't ask what went wrong. What you really need to know is what you can learn from what went wrong. Over the next 5 weeks, document what you've learned during this year from setbacks and failures and begin to consider what you need to change in your leadership approach, habits, or patterns to prevent similar situations in 2026. Connect with me via email to share. My email address is in the chat. Let's end with a final quote, though, from leadership great Henry Ford. And he said this: failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. And here's another idea to consider: setbacks are the tuition for the education every leader needs. So make sure you're getting your money's worth out of that tuition. Use those setbacks to position you to become your best possible leadership self in 2026. Once again, I'm Denise Miller, your Leadership Lady Live, and I invite you to like, to follow or subscribe to this channel, to share the link to the channel or to this video with friends, colleagues, neighbors, and also invite them to join the balance of this challenge with you, this fourth quarter challenge. Have a great balance of the day. I look forward to seeing you next time with a team tip.